So, let's talk about America's favorite recurring monthly bill. No, I'm not talking about the $20 streaming service you use to watch reruns. I'm talking about the $4 billion in military aid the U.S. sends to Israel every single fucking year. It's basically on autopay. Except instead of getting ad-free music, your tax dollars are buying shit that kills people. You may have wondered, why exactly are we funding Israel's military when our own infrastructure is held together by duct tape? If you listen to practically any politician, they'll give you a speech about shared values. But the real story is that Israel may have a photograph of an astronaut dancing in his tighty-whities in the studio that filmed the fake moon landings in the 60s. Oh wait, that's not true. Sorry, conspiracy bros. The truth is, it's a messy, high-stakes cocktail of Cold War trauma, military-industrial complex greed, and some very intense religious fandom. In 1948, the U.S. actually had an arms embargo on the region. Israel was buying gear from Czechoslovakia. The meet cute didn't happen until 1967, when Israel wrecked several Soviet-equipped militaries in 6 days. Washington was like, wow, these guys are really good at trashing Soviet shit. That's when the Unsinkable Aircraft Carrier theory was born. Why park 50,000 U.S. troops in a desert when you can just fund a local military that's, well, already there? But this isn't aid like a charity check. It's a giant gift card that can only be redeemed at the U.S. Defense Department. For years, Israel had a special snowflake clause that let them spend some of that money on their own companies, but by 2028, every cent has to stay in the U.S. So we give them our tax dollars, they give it back to Lockheed Martin and Raytheon, and your local congressperson can call it job creation. Let's not even talk about AI and automation and layoffs and shareholder value yet. So how does this stay so bipartisan? Enter AIPAC, the geopolitical insurance policy. In the last few election cycles, this lobby has dropped more than $100 million through their super PACs to make sure any candidate who even mentions human rights or conditioning aid never makes it past a primary. If you're a politician, supporting Israeli aid is the path of least resistance. If you don't, you will wake up to a $10 million attack ad campaign. It's a very effective way to keep everyone in line. But there's a plot twist. The biggest fans of this aid are white evangelicals. Why? For Christians, Israel isn't just a country, it's a prophetic stopwatch. These zombies firmly believe that for Jesus to return, 3 things must be in place. 1. Jewish people have to be in Israel. Check. Well, most of the broke-ass ones anyway. The rich ones are tucked away here in the States running the back-office shadow government. 2. The Temple Mount in Jerusalem, where the first and second temples stood before the Romans trashed the place in 70 CE, must be rebuilt. The third temple is the ultimate goal, the physical home for God on earth. The problem is, this same exact spot is currently home to the Dome of the Rock and the Al-Aqsa Mosque, the third holiest site in Islam. You can't build the third temple without moving the mosque, and you cannot move the mosque without starting World War III. It is the most contested 35 acres of land on the planet. And this is where it gets really weird. There's actually a group in Jerusalem called the Temple Institute that has spent decades building a third temple DIY kit. They have a 200-pound solid gold menorah ready to go, the architectural blueprints, priestly garments made from, and I am being totally serious here, specific snails and worms. And this is pretty fucked up. According to biblical law, you can't enter the temple if you're ritually impure. To fix this, you need the ashes of a perfectly red heifer, a cow with no spots, no blemishes, and one that has never worn a harness. In late 2022, 5 red heifers were flown from a farm in Texas to Israel. I guess that makes Texas the official supplier of the apocalypse. As of 2025 and early 2026, there have been reports of these cows being prepared for sacrifice. So supporting Israel is literally accelerating the return of Christ. Add in a dash of Genesis 12:3, the belief that if America doesn't bless Israel, God will pull the plug on our economy, and you've got a spiritual protection racket that drives millions of votes and billions of bucks. So the money keeps flowing because of decades of momentum, a defense industry that treats aid like a stimulus package, and a religious base that thinks they're funding the series finale of humanity. It's a giant geopolitical shit show with no brakes, and shareholders seem to be extremely pleased. Good luck trying to cancel that subscription.